My sister forged papers to steal $140 from me, and my parents backed her, so I cut ties, and what happened next tore our family apart. Subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Growing up, my parents always prioritized Madeline's needs, even when it meant ignoring mine. I once got grounded for asking why she got a new car after crashing the last one. They called it supporting her recovery. I convinced myself they were just protecting the fragile sibling, but it became clear I was just the fallback. Whenever she failed, I was expected to fix it quietly, obediently. That's not love, that's control. Madeline once stole from our father's wallet and blamed me. I got grounded for a month while she cried on cue. My mother said, "She's just emotional," and told me to be the bigger person. That phrase haunted my childhood. Every lie she told, every screw-up my silence was their price for peace. I learned early that telling the truth didn't matter. What mattered was keeping Madeline from feeling bad. That's how they raised us. When my mother called asking for $10,000 to help Madeline catch up on bills, I said no. She paused, then sighed like I'd broken her heart. "You're all she has," she whispered. That line had worked for years, but not this time. I stared at my phone, fingers trembling, then hung up. I wasn't a villain. I was just tired of paying for her mistakes. A week later, my father emailed me short cold, with an attached def of Madeline's unpaid hospital bill. "Family supports each other," it said. I replied I did for 20 years. I knew what they wanted: shame, guilt, compliance. Instead, I forwarded it to my lawyer. They weren't asking, they were testing boundaries, and they were losing. Madeline called me crying, saying she was about to be homeless. She listed every mistake like it wasn't her fault: lost job, maxed out cards, bad luck. I stayed silent until she asked if she could move into my apartment. I told her no. She screamed that I was heartless. I almost apologized, but I didn't. That pause, that silence, I owned it. For once, I didn't rescue her. I chose myself. My mother showed up uninvited, standing in my hallway with bags of Madeline's things. "She just needs a few weeks," she said, already setting them down. I blocked the door. "She's not coming in," I said. Her eyes narrowed. "You're turning your back on family." I didn't flinch. She left, silent, dragging the bags behind her. That slam of my door, it wasn't anger, it was liberation. After weeks of silence, I got a call from my bank's fraud department. Someone had tried to access my account using forged power of attorney documents signed in my name. My stomach dropped. The name on the request: Madeline Lawson. I drove straight to her apartment. No calls, no texts. This wasn't a misunderstanding, it was war. And I was done playing the family martyr. She opened the door like nothing was wrong. "Hey," she said, smiling too wide. I showed her the bank email. She didn't deny it. "Mom said you'd help if I pushed hard enough." She shrugged. I stared at her. "You forged my signature." She rolled her eyes. "You owe me." That sentence, the last she'd ever say to me, was in anger. It was entitlement carved into blood. I filed a police report that day. Fraud, identity theft, attempted theft. It felt surreal saying her name to a detective, listing charges. He nodded, took notes, asked for proof. I handed over screenshots, dates, emails. "You're not the first," he said flatly. That sentence hit harder than expected. How many others had she burned? I wasn't special. I was just finally done. When my parents found out, they showed up at my job to talk. My boss escorted them out while I watched from the glass conference room. My mother screamed about betrayal. My father wouldn't meet my eyes. I didn't flinch. They used public shame as a weapon. I let them swing and miss. I wasn't the child they could manipulate anymore. I'd grown sharp. They emailed the whole family, cousins, aunts, everyone. Claimed I was abandoning them in a time of crisis. That I was hysterical, cruel, greedy. For every message I replied with one screenshot, the forged document. No words, just facts. One by one, the replies loaded, then stopped. I didn't need them to take my side. I needed them to see the truth. Silence said enough. The lawyer they hired sent a cease and desist letter. Said I was defaming Madeline. I laughed. My attorney responded with a formal notice of my own, listing charges, evidence, and a deadline. They blinked first. The letter was withdrawn. I framed both, side by side, their threat and my answer. A reminder that fear is a choice, and I wasn't choosing it anymore. Not for them. Just when I thought it was over, I received a court summons. Madeline was suing me for emotional distress. A claim my refusal to help her led to psychological damage. I laughed out loud, then felt the rage hit. This wasn't about money. It was about control. About dragging me back into the role I escaped. But I wasn't afraid. Not this time. My lawyer discovered Madeline had applied for credit using my name months before the forged document. That meant intent and pattern. We filed a counterclaim, and the court date was set. My parents showed up with her, holding hands like a united front. But the judge only looked at the papers. Facts don't flinch. And this time, the story wasn't hers to spin. During discovery, we found emails from my mother advising Madeline on how to approach the bank. She sent templates, encouraged her. "He'll forgive you eventually." One read. That sentence stuck like a knife. It wasn't just neglect, it was orchestration. My own mother had helped plan the fraud. Suddenly, every childhood memory shifted. The betrayal wasn't passive, it was deliberate. We submitted the emails as evidence. My parents didn't show up to the next hearing. Neither did Madeline. Their silence screamed guilt. The judge ruled in my favor, dismissed their suit, and noted grounds for fraud. That piece of paper felt heavier than any diploma I'd earned. Not justice, but proof. Proof that I wasn't crazy, cruel, or cold. Just finally done pretending. After the ruling, I got an anonymous email, screenshots of Madeline bragging online about almost getting 6 figures from me. It was a private group chat, but someone leaked it. One cousin, one truth. Suddenly family started texting again. "We didn't know." "I'm sorry." I didn't reply. They knew enough to judge before. Let them sit with their silence. I had nothing left to prove. Madeline was evicted a month later. Word got around fast. Employers, landlords, they saw the fraud charges. She posted a teary video blaming family betrayal. Comments were brutal. Sympathy turned to disgust. People don't forgive fraud, especially when you're smug about it. I didn't comment. I didn't need to. She buried herself. All I'd done was stop digging for her. I got a letter from my parents, handwritten. "We forgive you." It began. Not "we're sorry," not "we understand." Just forgiveness I never asked for. I tossed it in the trash. That wasn't an olive branch. That was a leash disguised as grace. They'd lost control, and now they were rewriting the narrative. I didn't need peace with them. I just needed peace. One of my aunts, always close to my mom, called out of the blue. "You've changed," she said. Not unkindly. "You used to be so helpful." I let the silence stretch. "I got tired of being used," I said finally. She sighed, said nothing, then hung up. That was their grief talking, not for losing me, but for losing their enabler. I'd never been seen, only used. A distant cousin sent me a birthday card, first time in years. Inside was a photo of us as kids. With a note, I always saw how they treated you. I stared at the handwriting. It wasn't validation I needed, it was witnessing. Quiet, delayed, but real. I kept that card, not because it fixed things, but because it proved I hadn't imagined it all. Madeline tried to start a GoFundMe, claiming she was a victim of family abandonment. I reported it, so did 5 other strangers who'd followed the court updates online. The platform took it down. She never stood a chance. Her story relied on secrecy, on no one connecting dots, but she'd underestimated the internet and the consequences of public lies. This time, she wasn't the only narrator. I got a call from Richard, my father alone. No Sylvia, no script. I didn't know she's gone that far, he said. I didn't interrupt. I thought we were helping. His voice cracked. I let him speak, then said, you helped her hurt me for years. He didn't argue. That silence wasn't guilt, it was the weight of reality finally settling in. He emailed me a week later. If you ever want to talk, I'll listen this time. No demands, no guilt, just words plain overdue. I didn't reply. Not yet. Healing isn't owed. And neither is forgiveness. I wasn't cruel, I was careful. I didn't need another open wound. I needed time, and for once, time was something I had plenty of. A journalist reached out, someone doing a piece on family financial abuse. They'd found the court record. Asked if I'd comment. I declined. Not because I was ashamed, but because the story wasn't theirs to tell. I'd already lived it, bled through it, survived it. Let someone else educate the world. I was busy rebuilding mine without cameras, without questions. Just truth lived quietly. I changed my number, deleted old emails, updated security settings, not out of fear, out of clarity. Closure wasn't something they could give me. It was a lock I had to install myself. And I did. Every click, every password reset. Every blocked contact. It wasn't paranoia. It was peace, a silent, deliberate act of saying, you can't reach me anymore. I ran into Madeline once, 6 months later, outside a grocery store. She looked thinner, angry. I nodded. She scowled, then laughed bitter. Small, you ruined everything, she spat. I didn't respond, just walked past her, groceries in hand. Not because I was afraid, but because I didn't owe her my anger. Ignoring her wasn't weakness, it was power. And I held it quietly. A friend asked why I never posted about what happened. You could help people, she said. Maybe, but survival isn't always a sermon. Sometimes it's just silence, sleep, eating in peace. I didn't need a platform, I needed a life. And slowly, I was building one. Not to inspire others, but because I finally had the space to breathe without flinching. Someone from college messaged me. I always wondered why you were so guarded. I didn't answer. How could I explain years of training, of flinching at kindness, expecting cost? I wasn't guarded. I was conditioned, but I wasn't anymore. I left the message unread. Let curiosity stay curious. Not all stories deserve answers. Some deserve peace. And I was finally claiming mine. I started journaling again. Not to vent, but to remember. Not them, me. The things I liked. The days I didn't think of their names. The meals I cooked without guilt. Small wins, they weren't dramatic, but they were mine. Each page wasn't a testimony, it was recovery. Quiet, private, unremarkable to anyone but me. And that made it everything I needed. One night, I opened a drawer and found my old family photo. Adeline, smiling at my parents behind her, me awkward half smile. I almost tossed it. Instead, I kept it. Not out of nostalgia, but as evidence. A reminder. Not of pain, but of escape. Of what I left behind. I didn't need to forgive them to move forward. I just needed to remember why I left. I booked a solo trip, first time out of the country. No one to call, no itinerary to approve. Just me, a backpack, and silence on the flight. I didn't think about them once. No panic, no guilt, just forward motion. They'd stolen so many years from me, but not this moment. This was mine, and for the first time, that was enough. Looking back, I realized my freedom didn't come from one big decision, but from hundreds of tiny refusals. Every ignored call, every deleted email, every no, it added up. My peace wasn't a single act of rebellion, it was sustained boundaries. And in those quiet choices, I rebuilt myself. Not better, not stronger, just honest. Finally, I belonged to no one but me. I stopped calling it estrangement. That word implied I lost something. I didn't. I let go of something harmful. There's no grief in choosing yourself. No tragedy in peace. I see now that being the scapegoat wasn't random, it was convenient. I made life easier for them and harder for myself. Until I didn't. Until I chose the harder path toward calm. The guilt faded slowly. At first, it echoed loud, manipulative. Familiar, but I stopped answering. Guilt only thrives on reaction. I give it none. Now silence doesn't mean shame, it means peace, it means rest. My life isn't dramatic anymore, it's quiet, predictable mine. That's the reward. Not applause, not vindication. Just the absence of dread, and that's more than enough. Now, Madeline is bankrupt, my parents are isolated, and I no longer flinch when my phone rings. I've rebuilt my finances, moved to a new city, and live on my terms. There's no dramatic ending, just distance. If you're trapped in guilt, know this family can be a comfort or a cage. Choosing peace isn't betrayal, it's survival. And every day I choose it again. I don't celebrate holidays anymore, not the way I used to. No forced calls, no pretending. I spend them with people who see me, not just use me. We cook, laugh, rest, no guilt, no performance, just presence. That's family now. Built, not inherited, chosen, not imposed. It's not loud, it's real, and it's mine. That's the life I fought for. That's the peace I earned. Some people still whisper that I went too far. That I abandoned my family. Let them whisper, let them wonder. They weren't there in the silence, in the sleepless nights, in the years I gave away. I didn't abandon anyone. I rescued myself. And I'd do it again sooner, louder. Because the moment I stopped proving my worth, I started living, and that's the loudest truth of all. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe to check out more stories on my channel.